Yo, what's up everybody? Eduardo Talbert here with Monster Tutorials. Today we're making this. This mask, inspired by the Texas Chainsaw Massacre's Leatherface character. Alright, let's get started. Alright, let's do this. So, we're going to need a form, liquid latex, and toilet paper or paper towels to get started. Okay, as far as the form is concerned, you can use one of these styrofoam ones. It will do a fine mask, as you can see, but it'll be tiny. I cannot fit this mask on my head, so if you're going to use it as a mask, I highly recommend this dude. Okay, that is like full size, so a mask on him will fit me, and that's what I use to make my 2 clown masks and the last 3 or 4 masks. So this thing already paid for itself. It's pretty cool, and the liquid latex peels right off of it. By the way, there's links to all the materials from the description, including the liquid latex and this form if you're interested. So as you know, today's tutorial is inspired by Chainsaw Massacre. I'm not doing a particular mask from a particular movie. It's just inspired by the whole series. So it's going to be a Leatherface mask, but it's not the one from the first movie or from the third or from the whatever. It's just in general like a peeled face mask. The other thing I got was this wig on Amazon. The link to that is below as well. It's like the closest I saw. I'm going to have to, it's pretty smooth on the back, so I'm going to have to like mess it up with some hairspray or something, but that's what we'll be using. Right, let's get started. To make things easier, I'm going to pour some of this liquid latex in a cup. I'm using one of these disposable chip brushes, and I got some toilet paper. Unfortunately, I ran out of the prison toilet paper, the one with no print, and so I got this one that has like very, very light print, and I'm using the backside that doesn't have the print. The print doesn't show as much on the backside. So let's take some toilet paper and start ripping it into little pieces. And you want the edges to be jagged. That way you don't get any straight lines on your mask. This particular mask, I'm going to come down all the way to the chest and around here, around the neck, around the face, all the way back to about right here, the middle of the head, and like around the ear, down the side, and then down the front. For this first layer, we're just going to put some liquid latex in the area that you want. And we're going to lay the pieces of toilet paper. Okay. Make sure the pieces overlap and they get soaked. And since this is a peeled face type of mask, the wrinkles don't matter that much, so you don't need to smooth it out perfectly. So let's do this step all the way around. Since this is the base layer, the placement and shape of the toilet paper doesn't matter too much. This is what it looks like. Right, let's do the whole head. Now if you move fast with your brush, it won't stick to the liquid latex, and when the brush is resting, leave it in the liquid latex. That way it doesn't start drying and getting sticky. Because once it gets sticky, it's really hard. You try to wipe it and it just pulls the stuff right off of your mask. I want ears on this guy. This mannequin head has decent ears that you can use to mold the mask. When you get into intricate areas like the eyes like that, just dab like that with the brush and it'll push that toilet paper and the liquid latex deep into the detail that you want to capture. This first layer is done. However, if you notice, there are some parts where I pulled some of the toilet paper out and it has like some little like bald spots, so just patch those up. And also in any thin areas, just dab some liquid latex just to thicken it and strengthen it. So just look around, make sure there's no weak spots. So I'm basically patching it up right now. Alright, I'm gonna put this guy in front of a fan and I'm gonna go watch the first half of this while this dries. As you can see, this is dry now. The parts where the toilet paper was really thin is almost see-through and the liquid latex is transparent, so it looks like there's nothing under, but there's one layer of liquid latex plus one layer of toilet paper. Now we're going to start sculpting some of the features that we want. So on this particular mask, I know that the neck is a little bit fatter and the cheeks are fatter, so I'm going to add padding with toilet paper and liquid latex. So we're doing the same step, but we're going to be sculpting the features that we want. And I am using some of these pictures from Pinterest as reference to see where I need to sculpt the thicker areas. For example, the nose is really thick on that mask, so I'm going to thicken this nose right here. If you see how thick the forehead is, we can thicken that here too. And I'm just doing it one layer at a time so that the liquid latex has time to dry. One of the big cuts on this mask, on this one from the reference, goes from the eye to the mouth, so we can make a seam right here. Now we can do the other side of the seam. See, it looks like there's a split of skin right there along that line. I'm just going to make it a little bit jagged. You can use a toothpick for that. And this is just where the two pieces of skin meet and they are sewn together. Only they're not that straight, so I'm making it a little bit more jagged. There's a nice cut. And we'll do that all around the face. Now that's the main cut across the forehead. Then it comes around with a big flap of skin behind here, behind the ear. So that's what I'm putting this toilet paper and making it nice and jagged so it looks like ripped skin that we're going to sew together. That cut is also done. So I'll put a few cuts here, like that one, just by sculpting it with toilet paper. I did the mouth and the nose, and it has a cut coming all the way up to this eye. Now for the mouth, on the mask, the lips go down on a circle. So for the lips, I'm taking more toilet paper. Now I was thinking of just rolling a little bit like that and making the thick part be the lips and just gluing it all around the base of the mouth. So something like, see the picture, Okay, it's like down here. It comes around and meets up here, and then comes around and meets up here. And then we'll blend all this rest with a brush. This toilet paper is really soft, so if you hit it with the brush hard enough, it takes the edges and just breaks them apart, and it blends perfectly. So I'm blending this outside edge first, and when that's blended, then we'll give a shape to this lip right here. So it's nice and round and thick. See how it blends perfectly? You don't see a line there anymore. If I need to add more to the lip, I'll just keep making little rolls of toilet paper and adding them there and blotting them with more liquid latex. I'm going to finish up this side of the face with just plain toilet paper, maybe like doubled. On the back we won't need it because of the wig, so I'm just going to do plain toilet paper. There's going to be no sculpting back here. And then for the neck, the mask looks like it has some rolls right there on the neck, so I'll make some rolls right here. Just using that same technique. Right, that's not a huge roll, but we have a little bit of a roll going on, so I'm going to do that all the way down the neck. Cover the whole thing, let it dry. This layer of liquid latex and toilet paper is done. As you can see, I've covered everything from top to bottom plus the sculpting. So I'm going to set this up in front of the fan, and I'm going to go to dinner, let this dry thoroughly to see if I missed any spots, to see if I need to sculpt anything else, and if not, we can start some of the finishing parts of this project. Let's go to the fan. Alright, I went ahead and let this dry thoroughly. I ran out of day yesterday, so I let it dry overnight. It's totally dry. As you can see, it's see-through still, but it has 2 or 3 coats of liquid latex and they're nice and dry. So next step now is to start painting this mask. The first thing I'm going to do is do a base coat, because right now you have like this white spots of toilet paper and some clear spots. You still have that cool yellow color from the liquid latex, but the white is just too bright. I want a uniform color. So I'm starting with a yellow ochre, some brown, some other brown, a little bit of white. We're going to make like a tan color. Something like a dried leather color, hence Leatherface. For this first base coat, I'm going to use my hands and not a brush. And I'm going to start with a white base. Now we're going to add some brown, yellow ochre, and a touch of black just to make it a little bit dirty. Trying to make it into a very light tan color. Right, let's see. That looks nice. So I like to just take my hand, and the paint will go really far if you rub it in like this. This is just for that first base coat. The important thing is that you cover the white parts the most, because the yellow ones look pretty natural, so those can show through the paint job. This base coat is done. Let this dry. This dried up pretty quickly. So for the detail, I'm working with just some plain brown color. I put some here, and I'm just going to go where the cuts are and just get in the cuts all around the face. In some places like this, you go deep, and whatever gets out, just blend it with your finger. And this is just a reverse of like dry brushing. On this mask, the lips are pretty dark, so I'm making those really dark. Now here on the lips, to make them a little bit redder, I'm going to use a brighter brown. I'm just blending it in. So I'm going to go like this on all the wrinkles, all the cracks, just putting a little bit of brown wherever I think it should go. For example, along this. And then I'm taking the excess off and blending the edges in. So it leaves you like a nice sharp edge that looks like the skin is folded there. And darken it as needed below. And the paint gets caught in the deep areas and it gives it a little bit of a 3D look. Right, I'm going to do that all around. We have some wrinkles here on the forehead. We have a big cut coming from the mouth all the way to the eye, and any other deep parts that I can see. All right, I finished with the details here, and as you can see, I painted the cuts, some of the folds where the skin folds down, some of the details, some folds down here on the neck. So the next step to make this nice and shiny and to look like real skin, we're going to take some liquid latex and put one more layer over it. And for that, I'm using just a brush. I'm going to pour the liquid latex in here, and we're going to dab it all around. I'm not going to rub it because it might make this paint run. And while I paint this, check out this picture I put on Instagram. You should go follow me. Do it all over. And then let this dry. While that dries, I'm taking a little bit of black exterior latex paint. That's just really old paint. And some of this jute, or like rope, it's like hemp rope or jute. And I'm just going to take about 5 feet of it, get my gloves all nice and covered in this paint, and pretty much paint this rope black. Just like that. Right, just be careful so you don't get it all over like I'm doing. And this is to make the stitches. I want them to look like some black rope and not just regular rope. I'll take this and hang it somewhere out there to dry. This guy is dry, but it's really sticky. So I am going to take some talcum powder. It's like baby powder from the dollar store. Just going to put some on my table. And then I'm going to powder the whole mask. And the reason I'm doing that is so that it doesn't stick onto itself. Because if it does, you wasted all your work because you'll never unstick it. This part is nerve-wracking because we're going to be peeling the mask off. Okay, the moment of truth. We're peeling this mask off. So I'm going to start at a corner right here and just lift it up. And as soon as I have a clean piece like this, I'm going to start putting talcum powder, lots of it, under there. Okay? And as you can see, it peels right off of this form. That's why I like this form. This is why you need to powder the outside of it, because this is going to touch this here. And if this wasn't powdered, this would stick to it and you would never get it off. Now I'm going to put a cut from the top of the head down the middle, and that's to be able to peel it off. It will also make it easier to put over your head. And I can't say enough about this form. I've made some burlap masks on this, but never a latex mask. And look how easy that's peeling off. Alright, this guy is out. Let me put some powder on it. Alright, so we have the general mask. It came out pretty easily. It's super thick with all those layers we put. And it's not sticking onto each other. So now let's start cutting the holes. I'm going to cut the mouth and the eyes. Alright, so I'm going to start cutting the mouth. I'm just cutting along that jagged edge we made while we were building the mask. And this one goes all the way, almost up towards the eye. This one goes all the way down and around where we made those lips. Right, mouth is done. Now I'm going to mark the eyes and do the eyes. For the eyes, I'm not exactly sure how to do it, so I'm just going to mark them with this Sharpie and then just cut them out. And I'm just looking at a picture here on my phone of one of the masks. That's one right there that I marked. And then this one, since it's stitched up, the eye has to come right here, like a point where it got cut. And then the rest of the eye, straight line. There, and they'll cut up here and straight line there. So I'm going to cut those eyes out. Right, there is the other eye. I'm gonna have to touch it up with more paint, but right now we have the cuts made. Let's do the stitches where they go. So I'm gonna go get the rope and a big needle, like that big. See that? Right, I cut the holes as you see, but it's looking a little light, so I'm going to touch up some of these dark areas with some latex paint. My little rope is dry, so that's ready to make the stitches. I'm just going to touch up and down these cracks around the lips, around the eyes, and up here. And we should be ready to stitch. There you go. Right, let's start stitching this. This needle is super blunt, so I'm going to go ahead and make some holes with a punch where I want the stitches, and then we'll stitch it. So I put the mask in a foam form so I can like put holes right through it without worrying. It goes right into the foam. Alright, let's get started. I'm going to leave a loose piece here at the end that we can tie afterwards. Right, I'm going to tie these as my first step. All right. I am not pulling the string too tight because I don't want the rubber to bunch up. We already made it look like it was bunched up, so just stitch it loosely. This is the last stitch right here. I'm just going to tie it onto this one. Just put it through the hole here. And we can call this kinda done. There you go. Nice little knot right there. Okay, I'm just going to cut it and leave it sticking out a little bit. Right, so that side is done. I'm going to do the forehead, and then the cut between the mouth and the eye. This one, I'm going to tie it around the eye. So I am leaving the loose piece coming out the eye, and we'll tie a knot right there. Right, let's go all the way down. Right, I tied this knot here. Now I'm going to tie this one, and we'll move on to the forehead. The cheek is done. Now I'm going to do the forehead, and we should be almost done with this. There's the stitching. Got the head, the side of the mouth, and from the mouth to the eye. So now, let's see if this wig works or not. There you go. There is a Texas Chainsaw Massacre inspired mask. It looked like it's made out of real skin. It's super thick and durable because of all the coats that we did. It's got the stitching and all the details. And I put a wig on top. Here on the back, it has that slit that allows you to take it off and put it on. I guess we need to see if it fits, huh? Well, there you go. I need a chainsaw. Maybe we'll go shopping and find a chainsaw to complete this. So, if you like this mask, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't, because we have a ton of other stuff coming up, and I will see you next time.